I'm often asked, where do I find the inspiration to create all of my scrapbook layouts? Well, in today's video, I'm going to take these two cards from the 31 Days of Christmas Cards, and I'm going to use them to create a pretty awesome scrapbook layout. We're going to choose a card design and select one or more photos. We're going to resize those elements to fit the scrapbook layout, and we're going to create dimensional poinsettias. Let's go through the selection process I did to pick my cards. I went through all three of my binders here, and these binders I print at home and then I just slide all of the pages inside the binders. What I like about these is that when I pre-cut my card elements, I can sneak them right into the binder and I can take it with me at a crop. It also has this little pocket here at the back that I can put some tools, and it's all in one. So I find these at the dollar store. They're very inexpensive and they fit the bill quite well. I picked something from 2022 and let me show you. I actually picked a beautiful card that Erin created. I really love this design that she did, and it was really screaming, this is going to make a good scrapbook page. And I also picked one of the cards that I created, and this one here is a slimline shaker card, and I'm going to incorporate both of these into my scrapbook layout. So let me move these out of the way. Let's take a look at the layout we're going to do together. Very quickly, these are the dies that I use. So this is the Christmas die right here, and it's perfect for slimline cards, or it makes a really great title on a scrapbook layout. And of course, we're going to add a few shaker bits inside to mimic a shaker card, just the way this one was. I also used these sprigs here, and if you were here last year, this made an appearance in all of our classes, or a lot of our classes, I should say. So these are all done right here in white primarily, and I have a few done in the greens. And we're going to finish it off with this die right here, which is Comfort and Joy, and I'm going to use the poinsettia. So those are the items that I'm using to create this layout. Let's go through the process on how I resized this layout from this card. Now for me, this front panel here translated into a photo. Because of the design of this card, I knew that this would make a really, really nice single page layout. So this is the inspiration, this is the layout. My photo in the center measures 5 by 5. So that actually dictated everything on this layout. Now I've got these pieces right here. Everything is loosely tacked down. I'm going to deconstruct this so that you can see. I have some great glitter paper. So this is a 5 by 5. It's been double matted. The green mat is 5.5 by 5.5. And then this one right here is 7 by 7 because I did want to have a nice border around, and I also needed something big enough to kind of anchor all of these small pieces, just like this card. So this was the perfect size. The size of the photo and the size of these sprigs really dictated the size of the elements I needed for this layout. So this is why I have a 5 by 5. And again, this one here measures 7 by 7. Then it was a matter of cutting everything out, and I decided to use a variety of white specialty papers and just cardstock. And actually, this is not white. If you look at the card itself is definitely white, but because I introduced the glitter paper, I felt that the white didn't really match the glitter paper, and I used French vanilla. The next step was to cut all of the little sprigs, and it did take a little bit of time, but not that much time because you can run them through all in the same pass. I just cut everything in small chunks. So basically what I did, I cut little pieces like this, and I put them all on my die cutting machine and I ran that through. So all of these here are cut with org paper. So this is a retired product from close to my heart, and it just has like an opal kind of finish to it. These ones here are done out of the glitter paper, and then this is just done with the French vanilla. And I kept on cutting until I could fill all around my page, and I knew that this was going to be the anchor. If we look at this card here, we've got that one featured flower on the card, but of course, because this is a scrapbook page, I'm going to add 3 flowers right here at the top. It really anchors the layout. It really distributes all of the element, and it looks pretty darn good. So the next step is to shape these flowers and add a little bit of ink. I'm only using 2 colors of inks today. I'm using Scarlet and Pine to highlight my flowers. I'm going to show you very quickly how to shape these flowers. Basically, there's only 2 pieces, so it's not that much work. If you don't want to shape the flowers, you can definitely keep them flat. But one thing I would recommend, and hopefully you can see that, I did use my stylus and I just added vein lines so that it looks a little bit more like a poinsettia. So this one here has already been done. We're going to go through that together and you'll see how good these flat pieces can look with just a stylus and a little bit of ink. Before we start shaping these flowers, I wanted to show you quickly how I was able to conserve some of my glitter paper. Now, this probably doesn't come as a surprise to you, but I did hollow out the center of this page. I was able to cut the mat for my photo, and all of the outside here, I was able to go back and cut all of these little sprigs. You only need 1 sheet of glitter paper and 1 sheet of French vanilla, and you can get this layout done. All of these little pieces were cut out of the scraps. I did use a couple of scraps from my stash. So this is in Pine and this is Scarlet. It doesn't take a lot of cardstock because there's a lot of details with these little sprigs. Let's shape these flowers. You'll see how easy that is. We're going to do this in 2 easy steps. Now, for the first step, you just need a stylus and you are going to create vein lines in each of the petals. So I start in the center and I then go to the outer edges of each of the petals and I start giving it a little bit more life. It definitely makes a huge difference and it has a big impact on otherwise very flat cardstock. You can see that it doesn't take very long, but again, it adds a lot of detail and dimension to your cardstocks. I would do this in a little bit of an assembly line, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you the entire process for one of the flowers. So this is one of the petals. I'm going to repeat that for this one here. So here we have the second petal done very much like the first one. And then this is the bottom half. And I like to do this one too. Although not much of it will show, I just like to add at least at the tips of each of these leaves. It breaks down the fiber. It gives it a little bit of movement. And if this is the time you have to create these flowers, you can stop right here. But we're going to do step 2, which is bringing in a little bit of ink. Now you are going to get inky for this one here because I usually just hold on to them. You can use an all-purpose mat. This is just a tiny piece that I have so that I can show you on video. So I'm going to lay this flat here because I'll probably use it for these pieces. But for these ones here, I just hold them. I'm going to add ink. As you know, the Close to My Heart cardstock has a white edge, and I'm trying to hide that. And the ink will go on quite dark, but it will dry back. So I'm just adding it on all of the pieces, and you can go all the way into the nooks and crannies if you want. So I'm just bending my leaves or my petals. Not sure if poinsettias actually have petals. I think they're just leaves of different colors. I should really look that up. All right, so this is what it looks like with the first pass. And then if I want to give it a little bit more life, I'm going to run this on the tips. When I do this, it actually brings out those veining lines that we did with the stylus. So I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to go in the center. So do you see when I go in the center, I kind of bend them? And you don't really see that part because they are glued on top of each other. And one last pass on the top, very light touch, just adding it on the tip. And this one here is a little bit darker, so it'll probably end up being at the back. So that one is done. And then we're going to use the pine ink, and we're going to do the very same thing. We're going to hide the white core of the cardstock. This one, I know I don't have to go all the way down. I'm just going to go around each of the leaves. And again, when it dries back, it's going to look really good. Now for these ones here, I could put it on my finger and get even more ink on my finger, or I could just simply use my all-purpose mat and I'm just pouncing on the leaves. I like that it gives it an even darker tone and it just shows up more because we're going to tuck these underneath. Well, that is it for the inking. Let's close that and put it to the side. And as far as shaping, I would just, at this point, I would give it a little pinch right in the center. And because you've done a line with your stylus, it works quite well. And that's it. That's it to give your flower a little bit of dimension. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to just fold on that center line. And then it's just a matter of gluing all of this together. I'm just going to use regular Tombow glue. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. You don't need a lot, just a little dollop of glue. And then I am going to offset the petals. So basically what I'm doing is that I'm rotating it so that they kind of intersect. And that's basically it. So there's not a lot of dimension on this flower, but just enough to give it interest. So we're going to do the same here, just a little dot. And I am going to place this so that we can see the maximum of those little green leaves at the back. And what I like about the Tombow is that you can really flip your flower around until you're happy with the position. So you don't see a whole lot of that green leaf at the back, but you still see it, and against the white, it's going to look really, really good. Now, as far as these pieces here, you can curl them if you want with your nail a little bit. It doesn't really matter. It's going to flatten out in the end, but if you want to give it a little bit of a curl, you can do that with your fingernail. Now, I lied. I said 2. It actually takes 3 steps because I do want to put something in the center right here. So let me get rid of my mat. I don't want to put glue on that one. We're going to add this one here. And I'm going to bring in these little white beads. Now, these beads, again, I get them at the dollar store, very inexpensive. And we're going to fill the center with these little beads. So for this portion here, I'm going to use liquid glass. I'm still working my way through my supplies, and I hope you are too. I've got these little glass bowls that I use so that they don't go jumping all over the place. And I'm just going to put a whole bunch right on top. And then I'm going to tap them into this little bowl. And then I'm just going to gently push them into the center. Now I feel that I need a little bit more on this edge. Okay. Now doesn't that look cute? It's going to dry clear and it's going to look really good against my white layout. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do this for all 3 flowers, and then we're going to start assembling that layout. Let's go through the next step in completing this layout. Now, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but I'm going to show you why I did it. Now, this has a stitched edge, and I am a sucker for a stitched edge. So yes, I did take out my sewing machine, and I did stitch this piece right here. So this is the white piece of cardstock, which is French vanilla, and it just adds another layer and another dimension to this otherwise very white layout. So we've got our base ready. And the next thing I want to do, and I'm just going to show you this quickly because I found that Using Tombow glue really works well when you are adhering cardstock to glitter paper. I've tried various other glue and I just find that this one works the best. Now I know that I'm not going to tuck anything underneath this piece. I am just going to center this and I'm going to allow it to dry. This is the beginning of our layout that's translated from this card. Before we start putting all of the little sprigs around, I wanted to show you how I'm going to dress up this title. Now you could keep it the way it is right now with the dimension. It really is quite nice. But I wanted to mimic this card here and the fact that this was a shaker card. I'm going to bring back my liquid glass and I'm going to fill the inside of each of these letters and we're going to add some of those little beads. So I'm just going to move this to the side and we'll do this together because this will need some drying time. Because I've built up the walls, if you want, around each of the letters, I know that I can fill them with liquid glass and then I can add the little beads. I'm going to bring back my little tray and I'm going to do them one at a time only because I don't want them to go all over the place. Isn't that cool? It really gives it a whole new look. I think that I can probably do 2 letters. We're going to tap some of this in. And, oh, this is so cute. That's going to give you the look and feel of a shaker card, but it's not a true shaker card. But I like all the glitter that it provides. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. We're going to set it to the side and then we're going to start doing the dry assembly for the layout. All right, we have the base of a really nice layout. I did forget to mention that I also cut the Merry Christmas, and I'm not sure if it's going to make an appearance because in this card here, the Merry is overlapping and I don't have as much room. Maybe I can cut it out of a different material. We're going to let this sit here for a little bit and see how it plays out, but I did cut it. I'm not sure if I need it, so we're just going to leave it there for a moment. So I've gone ahead and I've got my base page and I have my Merry Christmas with all of the little glitter bits inside. Some are outside, as you can see, and I'm going to let that dry. But while this dries, we're going to do this really nice effect that is all around the card. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to place my poinsettias, and I'm going to add them here at the top. And do you see with the shaping of the flowers how pretty that is? I really like the way it frames the top. And then we can just go ahead and add a few of these sprigs. So these are exactly the same as these ones right here. They're just cut out of green. So I'm going to add a few. I did cut, I believe, 2 for each flower. Now we may not use them all, but for now I'm going to start with this cluster and we'll build all around the rest. I'm going to add one here. And we've got a couple that we can add up here. Isn't that pretty? And you know what? This could be the layout. We could stop right here if we wanted, because I think that this looks really good just the way it is right now. But I want to be true to the card, and I do like all of the white. But do you see how that looks? Really good. And we've only done the first step of this embellishment. So for the next step, what I was doing originally is that I had separated them all by types. And again, they've all been cut in different materials, in different whites if you want. So this is just the cardstock, which was the leftover from this piece. And this is just glitter that was left over from my base page. So here are all of my pieces. And we're gonna take one of each and we are going to distribute them around this page and you'll see how good that looks. I'm pretty excited about that. So, all right, so we're gonna go 1, 2, and 3. And I'm gonna start right here in the corner. Now I did glue this down, but this is not tacked down all the way. I knew that I was going to tuck my elements underneath. So I'm going to start one at the top, and we're going to fill in as we go. I'm going to put one right here at the bottom. So we've got this one here. And then I'm going to put one right here. So I'm just kind of evenly distributing them as much as I can. So we've got this here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to keep moving around. So do you see when you grab them 3 at a time, like it just really fills quickly around that frame? Got this one. I might have extras. And if I do, I'll just make another card, because this was one of my favorite cards during the 31 days of Christmas. Now, if you're thinking Christmas cards, you're in luck. We are now open for registration for the 31 Days of Christmas Cards 2024. And you are going to love what we have. This is going to be our 5th year. Now, you saw that I had three books, and we're working on our 4th. We also have right here on YouTube an entire playlist. So if you want to get a sense of what you're getting, you can go check out that playlist. But remember, that was our 1st year. Now we are pretty seasoned, and this is our 5th of this amazing event. We've had nothing but comments, and people truly love creating all of those cards, and I think you will too. So now that I'm done with tucking all of my little pieces, and you can see that I did cut a few more of these sprigs to kind of fill out the corners, because those seem to take up a little bit more. Now I can see that I can leave my Merry Christmas right here at the bottom, and it's going to look great. Now, I'm not going to make you watch me glue all of these down, because of course it's going to take me a little while, but this is how it all started. And if you're enjoying this video, you're probably going to enjoy our classes. You have a full-length class every day in October. Now, where else can you get a full-length class for $1.29? I know that I enjoy it. It is our favorite event to host every year, and I think you'll enjoy it too. Let me glue all of these pieces down. I will show you the finished layout, and I'm sure you're going to love it as much as I do. So can you believe that this started with these 2 cards right here? This one for the main inspiration, and this one here for the title. Let's take a look at the completed layout. I love the way this turned out, from this really glittery title to these beautiful poinsettias and all of these great little sprigs. I truly am happy with how this layout turned out. This photo here is from 2019, and every morning I make a point of taking a picture of these 2, and I love that I was able to document this photo. Now, it all started right here with this card for the title, and then of course I drew my inspiration from Erin's great card. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and if you'd like to see what the creative design team has been up to this week, you can check this link right here on the right. If you'd like to get more information on the 31 Days of Christmas cards, that will be listed in the description box down below. In the meanwhile, you can binge watch our playlist from 2020. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.